It's time for your biggest fantasy dilemmas for week 14 on FFT Express. It's Adam and Dave. Here we go. I'm sure you have a lot of dilemmas this week. Feeling dilemma-y?
Not really. I'm having a pretty good year. I've got a lot of teams that are locked into
nice.
Like seeds, top seeds. I'm the top seed in our dynasty league, unless I'm outscored by like 250 points by RJ White. Like I'm in pretty good shape. Not to humble brag or anything, but it just means I've got the time to help other people. This is normally the FFT Express where we talk about the players that are most traded.
Right.
No one's trading anymore. So makes sense now to just answer people's questions. So let's do it.
Yeah, so I am in some situations where I need to win and have someone else lose. So my dilemma is, how do I sabotage someone else's team? How do I hack their account? Things like that. I have to figure that out. But you
can pay me, at CBS. I might be able to hack into people's accounts.
Yeah, okay. I could probably.
I'll show you. I'll rename one of your teams.
Find someone up the ladder to do that for me. All right, but we're answering your questions. This one comes from Isli on Twitter. Jonnu Smith or Juwan Jennings in a flex this week?
I'm going Jonnu. I totally buy into what his role is in this Dolphins offense. It hasn't faded one iota. And I almost think defenses are okay with those short passes to Jonnu compared to throws further downfield to Waddle or Tyreek, that they allow those types of plays to happen. And so as long as Jonnu's getting that, I think he's going to be better than Juwan Jennings.
Double blue, David Montgomery or Garrett Wilson? Montgomery against the Packers or Garrett Wilson at Miami?
Got a funny feeling that Montgomery is going to be the better running back for the Lions this week. Just all that stuff that happened with Jahmyr Gibbs and posting stuff. I bet there's a little bit of ramifications. Plus, Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled last week. Typically doesn't get as many carries as David Montgomery does. And Garrett Wilson, we talked about him on the main show. Just really tough to trust. I'd go with Montgomery in what should be a high-scoring game against the Packers.
Adam needs 3 wide receivers: A.J. Brown, Jaden Reed, Jerry Jeudy, and Garrett Wilson in full PPR.
It's funny. Brown and Jeudy are the musts. Between Wilson and Reed, I think Wilson will probably see more targets. I feel a little bit better about Wilson than I do Reed because Reed just seems to be so touchdown dependent.
A Mudslide 02 is in a 4-point per passing touchdown league. Start Levis or Jameis Winston with Jaden Daniels on a bye.
It's Jameis. There's definitely downside for both of these quarterbacks, but the upside is higher with Jameis Winston.
All right, let me read another one from Pax here, or just the first one from Pax. Second in my home league, thanks to you guys. Oh, thank you. Good for you, Pax.
What we're here for, Pax.
Who is the best quarterback to replace Lamar Jackson this week? Russell Wilson, Brock Purdy, or Caleb Williams?
It's Caleb Williams. It's with an asterisk because I won't like Caleb Williams as much if that 49ers defense gets healthy. If Nick Bosa's back, if Dre Greenlaw comes back, those are some pieces. There's also members of the secondary, Diamador Lenore. Like if that 49ers defense is at full strength and they're at the point right now where they're just in must-win mode, then I will be nervous about Caleb Williams. And at that point, I would probably pivot to Brock. But if I've got to make the decision now, I'm picking up Caleb Williams.
I am getting the sense that people are so low on the 49ers right now that there might be a little undervalued. I mean, you've already gone away from Juwan Jennings for Jonnu Smith. I'm not blaming you, but you're starting Jonnu over Jennings. They're facing the Bears, who have been pretty good against very good against wide receivers. It's more of a target thing than a production thing, in my opinion. But you're going with Caleb over Purdy for now. Trent Williams is a huge deal. I really hope that he can get back. But I don't want to penalize the 49ers too much for what we've seen over the last 2 weeks with Brandon Allen, and with that
snow game.
And
sure.
I still think I have to start Purdy. I have to start Purdy in a league this week, but I think he could be good. Also, a note from Robert: Lions are 31st against slot receivers. Reed is a must start, and actually, I think they're 32nd. I don't know what metric you're using, but they do give up actually the most yards by more than 200 more than any other team to slot receivers. Go look at the slot receivers they've played, though. They've played some of the best in the business. But it is a good point. They really do struggle with the slot. And who was it last week for the Lions? On Thursday. It was Keenan Allen. All right, Keenan Allen had a big game.
Ended up having a very big game.
All right, we're going to take a break. We have more questions to answer when we come back on Fantasy Football Today. We're back. All right, Austy Frosty says Sam Darnold's available on waiver. Should I pick him up or stick with Mahomes or Purdy this week?
I've got Mahomes a spot ahead of Sam Darnold. I think he's got just a little bit more upside. I do think Mahomes has more downside than Darnold, though. So if you want somebody that's a little bit safer, I suspect that Darnold would be the better play there. But
drop
the upside play is Mahomes.
But
drop Purdy's third on the list.
Yeah. Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt from Chopper Cat?
It's Chubb because I expect Kareem Hunt to really be limited in his playing time this week.
You can't be feeling too good about Chubb, though, just separately.
No. He's got to score. He's a touchdown or bust running back.
Averaging 3 yards per carry with a long of 15 yards so far, Nick Chubb.
Yeah, it's not all on him. There's obviously some of it that is, but the offensive line's been terrible too.
Anto Amormino, sit one of these guys. Marvin Harrison Jr., JSN, DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, Darnell Mooney. Libster 95, sit one in half PPR. Thielen, Elijah Moore, Nick Chubb. And Jose says Ken Walker, Jaden Reed, or Deebo Samuel.
If I'm starting one, I'll probably say Walker. If I'm starting two, it's Walker and Reed.
Let's read some comments from the chat. Dave and I were just talking about this before the show. Aaron says, waking up to find out I bid $87 on Isaac Guerrero to find out there were no other bids. LOL.
Oh, Aaron.
You got to look at what your other league mates have in Fab.
But even in that case, like the second closest guy in Fab might have had 55. He still would have bid 56 and no one else bid on Guerrero. Yeah, that's the double-edged sword of Fab.
Right, but at least you would have bid 56 instead of all of your Fab.
Well, what if Aaron might have done that? The next highest guy might have had $86 in Fab, and that's why he bid 87.
Shakir or Jalen Warren for flex?
Shakir.
Need a running back. Davis, Kamani Vidal, or Sean Tucker?
Tucker's not playing. Vidal's barely playing. I would go with Davis and hope that he scores on the Rams.
Sean Tucker, though, what if Rachaad White's out?
Then he would start to play. That would be if who's out?
Sorry, Bucky Irving.
Yeah, if Bucky Irving's out, then that would obviously change the equation, and Sean Tucker would be right up there. So we're not expecting that, but if you wanted to try and get ahead of it and roster Sean Tucker, and then once it's clear that Bucky's practicing, you drop Tucker and you go get Ray Davis. He should still be out there on the waiver wire.
There's also Singletary and Algier on waiver.
Yeah, they're all kind of the same. They're all barely going to play. You hope that they plop in the end zone.
Would you start Rico Dowdle against the Bengals or Isaac Guerrero?
I do have Guerrero higher than Dowdle, but I do like both of them as number 2 running backs.
We'd like to see the health of the Bengals defense. Are they getting Sheldon Rankins and Logan Wilson back? That's a big deal. I mean,
that would help them.
I'm going Guerrero either way, but just in terms of Rico Dowdle.
Mm-hmm.
Stafford, Wilson, or Levis this week?
Stafford.
And what are your feelings on Deebo Samuel?
Don't really want to trust him as anything more than a number 3 option or a flex, but maybe he sees an uptick in touches with the top 2 running backs in San Francisco hurt.
And by the way, Juan and everyone else, blocking your opponents is not unethical. You should absolutely do that. Pick up players that your opponents can't get.
But don't pick them up and then immediately drop them, and then pick somebody else up and then immediately drop them, and then pick somebody else up and immediately drop them. I am blocking. I've referenced this league, Adam. 14 teams, 3 wide receivers, triple flex. It's cutthroat. It's tough. I noticed a week ago that the guy I'm playing in week 14 has CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson at quarterback, and they're both on bye this week. I've been carrying Will Levis for a week and a half now, and I plan on carrying him all the way until Saturday at the very earliest would I consider cutting him so that my opponent can't use him, but I might even just carry him through the games. That's ethical. That's okay. That's allowed. But if I were to dump Levis, pick up Bryce Young, drop Bryce Young, pick up Aiden O'Connell, drop Aiden O'Connell, and just like cycle that so that there's nobody out there for my opponent to pick up, that's unethical. And the commissioner, I'm sure, would step in and say, here, take your pick of whoever he added or dropped in the last 24 hours, whatever I did.
All right. Thank you, Dave Richard. Thank you all for watching and listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow on FFT Express.